So I put about half of my net worth as a college student, which was about bucks, on the Broncos. And the first snap, I remember the first snap went over Peyton Manning's head, and I was just like, oh boy.
What would be the process by which you take a losing bettor and turn them into a winning bettor?
Number one, stop only parlaying everything. You get those messages like, hey, I just paid for my family's vacation to the Bahamas with our winnings from last week, and that does keep you motivated.
What advice do you have for the 40 million plus Americans that bet on sports every week? What's up, everybody? We are here on the DubClub CEO Corner podcast. I am visited in the Bay Area by Tim from GladiatorAnalytics. Tim, how are we doing?
Good, man. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course. We're going to dive into the origin story of GladiatorAnalytics, what Tim was doing prior to starting this business, and the trials and tribulations that come with building a company in this space. It's going to be a good episode, but before we get into that, a quick word on the DubClub CEO Corner, which Tim, I actually don't know if I shared this with you yet, but the purpose of the DubClub CEO Corner is where sports cappers, these premium sports content creators, open the playbook. It's where you guys talk about, lifestyle, business, making money, being the CEOs of your companies, which not a lot of people really appreciate, how difficult of a job that is and how challenging of a role it can be. But it's a chance for us to go behind the scenes and, again, open the playbook for a lot of these awesome creators out there. So I'm excited to dive in with Tim today. Tim is a native of Colorado. Tim has been in this industry now for upwards of 4 years, basically half a decade. Before that was in... Feels like a lot longer, I'm sure. Tim, before this, was in software sales, which I know he'll talk a little bit about, and is just an all-around really good guy. Tim, do you want to maybe start off with some context and background generally on the GladiatorAnalytics story, and in the context of my favorite question on this podcast, which is, what is your first sports betting memory?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do the first sports betting memory and then how I got started with GladiatorAnalytics. So first sports betting story would have been college. Was really into sports and betting, of course. And typically, just how everything goes with most gamblers is your first betting stories are not good ones. It's you losing a lot of money. So my first big bet would have been so I went to school at Colorado State, and that was when Peyton Manning was playing the Seahawks in his first Super Bowl he went to with the Broncos. And so typical fan of the Denver Broncos, I'm like, oh, they're going to win. They have the best offense, all this stuff. Not looking at the facts and the data that the majority of the time, the team with the best defense, when you're playing defense versus offense, defense usually wins.
Defense wins.
Yeah, and the Seahawks had the best defense that year. So I put about half of my net worth as a college student, which was about $1,000, on the Broncos, and it did not go well at all from the first snap. I remember the first snap went over Peyton Manning's head, and I was just like, oh boy. We were down, I don't know, by 3 touchdowns at halftime.
Yeah.
So that was not good. All hell broke loose after that. But yeah, that was my first big bet, and it took me a little bit. It takes a little bit of time and learning to do sports betting the right way. But yeah, so I was losing sports bettor for the first couple years, like most. Then after college, I went into tech sales, had a good career in that. I was working for a company that did software for customer data. So we were basically analyzing Fortune 500 companies' customer data and then giving them input on how to better enhance their customer experience with their website, their call centers, things like that. COVID hit, everything shut down. I was still learning sports betting and, getting more into it, trying to get better at it and reading books and all this stuff. And so when that hit, I kind of just took it more seriously, and I started this as a kind of just a side project, and it took off in November of 2020. I believe I was in Colorado at the time. Colorado was the seventh state or sixth state to legalize sports betting, and it kind of just took off from there.
You mentioned to me when we were talking earlier that you had this vision after working with this big data company selling software. You had this vision that like, wow, there's a lot of data in sports. There's an opportunity to really make something of yourself in sports betting. You'd been doing it for a while. Do you remember the moment or the gut feeling you had when you decided I'm going to turn this from a side project into something that you're doing full time and quit your call it 9 to 5 job or whatever it was back then? I'm sure you probably couldn't contain yourself working 9 to 5 selling big data software, but
Yeah. So the moment with Gladiator Analytics was when I first started getting a couple clients, I started to take it seriously myself because I felt a responsibility. Like, okay, we have to make sure we're putting in the most work, crossing all our T's, dotting all our I's, making sure we're putting out the best possible.
how did those clients find you?
On Instagram when I first started.
Wow. And so you were just posting what you were betting on, like,
Yeah.
putting your slips out there and they started.
I was creating content, just kind of doing it organically. I would interact with people who are commenting with other sports betting creators or pages, books, DraftKings, things like that. I was just grinding. I would, follow. So I would go to a sports betting page. Everyone who's following there, I would follow that and then unfollow and just keep doing that just to kind of grow it organically.
Yeah.
And then, people would send me messages and we'd talk and get to know each other a little bit when I was first starting out. But I was doing, the bets were doing well, so I was getting clients and they're doing a little bit of word of mouth. And I remember a guy being like, "Hey, I want to sign up for a long-term pass. What would you charge for the year, right?" And
Yeah.
I told him like $500 or something. He's like, "No problem." And he just sent me the, Cash App right away. He's like,
Was
"Yeah."
that the magic moment where you're
I
like,
was like,
holy
that
shit?
was the magic moment. I was like, I just, I'm obviously helping this guy make a solid stream of income for himself, and he's willing to just send me $500 like that.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. I was like, holy shit, let's take this more seriously and see where it goes. And yeah, I've been working at it ever since. It's been my, full time since summer of 2021.
Wow.
So
Yeah. DubClub founded in July 2021. Look at that. Very
yeah,
coincidental overlap.
there you go.
Yeah, and one of the questions that I like to ask, and this is predicated on like you're actually not using an Apple device, but I have my Mac, I have my iPhone, you have an iPhone. We all love, Apple, right? For the most part.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs was like the best in the world at presenting and pitching the vision for Apple, and it was very clear to people, okay, maybe this isn't just a phone or a device. This is the future. How do you present what you're selling? Why should someone join your Dub Club? As the CEO, what's the vision that you're pitching and the sales pitch that you give for folks?
Yeah. Well, number one is we do a live show every day. So I do a live show on TikTok every day where we give you real data off our algorithm based off win probability percentages, projected run totals, things like that. So you're able to interact with me in real time, ask me questions, and I'm able to respond to you. So that's the number one selling factor for me is I'm able to interact with people, and you can't fake that, right?
Yeah.
You can't fake a live show. You'll see some guys on Instagram who'll go live, they'll turn their comments off because they've screwed people over and stuff like that. But
Yep.
always transparent, always post the results every day on my Instagram, do the live shows every day. I try and just be straightforward with people because when I first started out, I saw a lot of people just spewing BS, right? Spewing false results, just talking crazy, like just completely lying nonstop just to get more sales. That's all they cared about, right? The more
Yep.
sales, the more money in their pocket. That's all they cared about. It just didn't sit right with me, and
Yep.
it actually helped me in the long term because when I first started, it was mainly the majority of people in this industry were like that. So
Yep.
when I started out, it was like kind of like I don't know, like a fresh, like, oh, this is nice. This is the guy who actually posts his losses, who
Yep.
will own up to it. So I think that's helped me gain, credibility, and people are a lot more likely to go with me and trust me when they see me being straightforward and not having to. I'm not trying to just sell the most passes every day to
Yeah, your end goal isn't sales for the sake of sales. It's you are actually trying to help people win more together.
That was the goal. Is I want to help people because trust me, the first few years sports man,
It's hard.
I lost my ass. I lost a lot of money.
Yep.
It takes a lot of serious dedication and a serious process to actually be profitable in this. You can do it for sure, but it takes a skill set, which I have now after doing this long enough. So I wanted to help people, be profitable sports bettors.
Yeah, it's have you seen what you're telling me about the space, and I've seen this too because I've been in it for half a decade. I guess we use that terminology. Have you watched Wolf of Wall Street? Are you familiar with the Jordan Belfort story?
Of course, yeah.
So it's funny because the way that you describe it kind of reminds me of that. It's the get rich quick at the expense of other people. There's a lot of people in this industry that still feel. I mean, it's a gold rush in the sense that there's a lot of money to be made in sports betting, and there's a lot of money to be made from convincing people there's money to be made, which was Jordan Belfort's business model, was selling the penny stocks to get the commission to get someone to buy something that ultimately it's probably dirt. And I'm not saying that about everybody, but people that actually do the work and they do it for the right reasons, where they care about the result and the outcome of their users, is the most important thing. And that, as we were talking about when it comes to being the CEO of a company, you have to have a hierarchy of what you care about. It's always three things for you and for me, for anyone. It's always going to be three things. It's going to be, users or clients, people who work for you, because at the CEO, you're at the top. And it's going to be shareholders, so people who give you money, if you took investment. You have to balance those three, and a lot of CEOs view it differently.
Yeah.
It sounds like you and I are on the same page, where first and foremost is the user. It's the client.
Yeah, because in the long term, it's way more beneficial for me to treat that client right the first time, and then they're a repeat client. Like
Exactly.
I was telling you this earlier, I've had clients buy from me over 100 times. If you don't burn people, they'll be a long time consistent customer.
And you're that's $40 a month?
$40 a day.
Or $40 a day. Yeah, and how much a month? It's
on DubClub, it's one. So on DubClub, it's 40 a week.
Yep, 40 a week.
And 150 a month.
150. Yeah, I mean, the reason I ask is the people who are paying 40 a day or whatever it is, 100 times, it's like they could have gotten like 2 years worth.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. And I've even offered, I even offer a lifetime deal sometimes, rarely, where you can get just for life. And I don't know why you don't do that, because you've spent.
At the end of the day, I mean, they are tipping you. Like, that is kind of, there's a surplus element to it. They're willing to pay you more because you're actually helping them that much more. You're helping them win more. I mean, it's on the back of my shirt. It's our mission.
Yeah, exactly. If I wasn't helping them, they wouldn't come back that many times. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, Tim, there are a lot of things that come with starting a business. Obviously, very different. I mean, you and I was in a sales role before this. Pitching companies on why to take our capital when I was in venture capital. Similar thing. When you're the CEO and it's your business and the buck starts and stops with you, there's a lot of added pressure and anxiety. What kind of challenges, especially in this business, have you had to overcome when it comes to building to where you are now, which, if you're okay with me saying, is like multi six-figure a year business? It's very healthy. It's a very healthy business.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be so many challenges starting out. I mean, when you're first starting out, dealing with all sorts of you're dealing with all sorts of different people, right? Having to manage people who are really mad because you had a few bad days, and what's the right avenue to take with them is do I give you another free week, things like that. So just dealing with the different emotions of. I have 600 plus clients right now, but even at the beginning, it felt overwhelming when I had 40 clients. Dealing with each person individually, because everybody's at a different point in time, right? I might have a client sign up who has never even placed a sports bet in their life. So
they probably have no idea what you're talking about.
No,
Rangers ML minus 120. They're like, what in the
Yeah,
F is this?
They'll sign up, and then I'll need to explain it to them. So
Yep.
taking the time and explaining it to them through email or message on Instagram was a big challenge for sure. I've gotten
So
better.
education is a big bucket.
Yeah, I've gotten better at streamlining those things for sure. Yeah, just taking the time to educate, basically. There still needs to be a lot of education in this space. Um, but that was probably one of the biggest hurdles was education.
It's interesting that you say that because I feel like I've always been curious how you break down your day, like the time spent
Yeah.
in different areas. It sounds like there's a lot of communication with clients, asking questions. And for listeners, the idea behind the workflow behind Tim's product offering with Gladiator Analytics is basically giving people better information to make more informed bets. And sometimes that's Tim literally telling them what to bet on. Sometimes it's him helping guide them on what units to use, what other games to look at, what to stay away from. It sounds like there's a lot of back and forth that is involved with clients that, with the all access package, maybe expect a little bit extra from you. What does your typical day look like, and how is it structured from, wake up in the morning to when you go to bed at night?
Yeah, so first of it all, first part of the day is always capping the games, right?
Yeah.
I have my structure. It takes about 2 to 3 hours, depending on the day. Right now it's just MLB, so about 2 hours. If there's more sports, maybe 4 hours.
Yep.
So I have my process for that. So I do that every single morning, first thing, because that's the number one important thing.
Yep.
And then it's making the posts on social media of, okay, after I have what we have going on for the day with how many bets and all that, I'll post to social media. And then I'll do a live show on TikTok for about an hour to help people break down the slate with our algorithm that we have pulled up on my monitor in my office. And so I'll answer questions, do Q&A. And then after that, it's back to confirming all our selections. I have another process to confirm everything. Like in the MLB, you need to confirm hitting lineups, weather reports for stadiums, things like that. Make sure everything's go. And then I'll send the sheet out, and then I'll spend the last part of my day answering questions people have.
Do you watch the games at any point, or you just kind of let them happen?
I do watch the games. I don't spend as much time watching the games as I do capping the games because I have, like I said, I have a family and stuff. I try to spend time. If I'm working all throughout the day and then watching sports in my office all night,
no real work-life balance there.
yeah, I need to spend time with my kids and my wife. So, but I do watch the games for sure. I love watching the games, but I can't watch everything.
Yeah. Do you have anyone on your team helping you out, or is it just you?
With BetWise, just me. My wife will help me out with like the back end stuff, and you guys obviously with DubClub helping me with like the back end customer service aspect of getting the plays to everybody and things like that. But it's just me. Yeah.
Yeah. So the way I relate that on a broader scale, it's interesting because you're the CEO. You're also like technically the chief product officer because you're producing the product. Like what you just described at the beginning of the day, going through to pick out what you're betting on for the day and then giving that information to other people. That's the product. That's what people pay you for.
Yeah.
You're in charge of that. Yeah. And you're in charge of running the business. And then it sounds like there's, your chief technical officer, your CTO is like DubClub, your wife, kind of helping you make sure the product can get delivered. But everything else, I mean, it sounds like you're also doing the marketing. You're the chief marketing officer.
That's the thing too, is when I first started out, I was straight up working every, morning, afternoon, night, because I would, to grow the business. I've gotten to the point where I can have flexibility and more free time and stuff. Like, sometimes I can finish my day by 1 o'clock and then I can go spend the afternoon with my son at the pool.
That's awesome.
But when I was first starting out, the first year and a half, I was doing 7 days a week. I would do everything, and then I would do the marketing in the afternoon, and then do the watch all the games, and then make posts about the recaps of the games, and just grind it and grow it. Because the first year or so is always a huge grind to try and grow something or completely organically. Like I didn't ever
Yeah.
run ads, nothing like that. It was just all organic.
Yep.
So yeah, it was more of a grind at the start. I've gotten to a good point now where I can maintain and I have a better work life balance. But at the beginning, you're gonna have to grind and make some sacrifices and work the weekends and stuff. But
Yeah, I can attest.
yeah, I'm sure you
Yeah.
can.
No, it's great. I mean, it's good. That's why I like this podcast. Is Yeah, it's like kind of cathartic for you. Yeah, it's the job is changing for sure for me. I think we have like 30. I checked Slack earlier, like 34 people I mentioned,
Yeah.
and some of them are part time, but it's a lot of people and a lot of systems to build. But to your point, it's a different like at a certain point, it's a different job. You're not as in the weeds, which it sounded like 7 days a week. You were really trying to like grind things out to
Yeah.
build it up, and now you're probably, I would imagine you're spending a lot of your time thinking about how do I not get banned on TikTok, which is
Yeah.
like a primary marketing channel. Do you want to talk a little? We're going to get into the betting section in a second, but in terms of challenges, do you want to talk about as a content creator, someone that generates, most of their business? I looked at your numbers before. You got about 20% of your business coming from DubClub, and then of your DubClub, you're still driving a good portion of it yourself from a marketing standpoint. As someone that relies on like a channel such as TikTok or Instagram to generate a lot of demand for you, how frustrating is it for you to continue to run into roadblocks with TikTok in particular?
Yeah. Yeah, the TikTok is very frustrating because it's not like you have a clear explanation of why, because it'll be completely random of things getting taken down because it's gambling or gambling advice or whatever, and it seems to only affect certain creators and other creators don't have problems with it. So it's
Yeah.
just the fact that it's not consistent is the most frustrating part. But just you're always going to have to adapt or die is what I always tell myself. So growing Twitter, Instagram, having those different channels is important. And then just creating another account. You got to just keep going. You can't focus too much on the past. You just got to keep going. And luckily for me, I have a good enough. I like to call my clients my team. And if I message them all my clients together and be like, hey, TikTok got banned again. Here's the new one. Come
Yep.
join the live. Come bring your questions. Bring that good energy, and they do. So I've built up a good enough team, as I like to say, that it's not as big of an issue anymore. I'll just create a new account and just keep going forward, not
Yep.
back.
Yeah. Long term view is you put your users first,
Yeah.
and you're building an army. I would like to put it, and I like to think about it with us too. It's like we're so community centric. It's what it's all about. You truly win more together. I mean, you'll win. You can win a lot of money on your own, but you'll win betting, but you'll win more with people paying you to get the advice, right? That's literally the concept of DubClub at its core. It makes a ton of sense.
Absolutely.
And then we take a fee because we're your technology partner. We're driving your business. You're winning more together. It all works in tandem. Let's get to some of the fun stuff when it comes to betting. There's gonna be a lot of questions I have. Considering you make more money than the average person betting on sports, I don't know if you're familiar with the Billy Walters story. Billy Walters, obviously, like, and he's like
Yeah.
75, 76 years, whatever.
Did
Went to
you?
jail.
I
I've read
was
his book.
Yeah, I was just listening to him on the Joe Rogan
Yeah. He
podcast.
had a
So
great, he had a great
good episode.
podcast.
Yeah.
Great episode. Super informative. Super smart guy, but just interesting because he taps into this like fallacy, which is actually the truth. I mean, 97% of people lose money on when betting on sports. They start with like $100, they end up with 70. You make more than the average person. Can you talk to me about what's the most you've ever won from a single bet, and do you remember why you made that bet?
Oh, I mean, I'm not gonna say exact amount, but 5 figures,
Whew.
and it's it's college football, and like why exactly I made the bet that big, or
Just talk me through that day. Like how did why'd you put money down on that particular play? What do you remember the play?
yeah, I remember. Well,
These are always fun.
I've had multiple five figure wins,
Yeah.
but so basically, without diving too much into my process, we use our algorithm, we use a handicapping process, and I use another AI tool. So if the algorithm has a heavy indication on value, right? Say a team has a 80% chance to win, and the money line's only they're at minus 140, right? So you're getting insane value
Yep.
because at that win probability percentage it should be like 56% or
Yep.
58%.
Yep.
So that's one step. Then you look into the research on the game. Okay, the teams, you have to look at all the aspects of injuries, how they're playing on the road, how they're playing at home. So it's just when you have a really strong feeling, you gotta bet big. So if you have if all the things are aligning, you gotta bet big, and you're still going to have your losses, but as long as have win more than you lose on the spread, then um, yeah, it's a lot of process, but there's a lot of indicators where if it's strong enough
Yep.
indicator, you got to bet big.
Yeah, it sounds like the reality is when you have enough data points to inform one side over the other, basically taking the bet versus not, the data points are suggesting to do so, you take the bet.
Yeah.
And that in your process is a way of keeping you honest, keeping it objective and not emotional, in the sense of as you evaluate the board, you can sort of I would say methodically work through what it is that you would like to put money on that day.
Yeah, so it's all based on units. So like
And
you have,
is the amount of units you're going to put down a reflection of your level of
yeah,
confidence?
exactly, and it changes with but 1 unit equals 1% of your bankroll.
Yep.
So
So someone with $1,000, that's what, $10?
yeah, and if you have a smaller bankroll, you can go up to 5%,
Yep.
but I'd recommend people staying around between 2 to 3%. But because I used to do 10%, so 10 unit bets. I don't do them as much anymore, because of the amount of people we have tailing our plays, the line movement, and just we can go into this story, but too big of a handle based
Yep.
off my recommendations, and just some shady shit happened in a college basketball game.
Mm.
But so that was I don't usually do 10 unit bets anymore. Um, but yeah, 10 units, 10% of your bankroll was the biggest we'd ever bet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. What this is another question in this section, which is always a fun one. What do you typically spend your money on?
What do I spend my money on?
Yeah, like what does Tim, the human
Yeah.
behind the Gladiator Analytics brain?
I like travel. My wife loves travel, of course, so we like to take nice vacations to the beach and stuff. We live in Colorado, so
Yeah.
in the fall, like when we're sick of the weather in the fall, the winter, the early spring, we'll go to Mexico or Florida.
Cabo, Cancun.
Yeah, Cabo, Cancun, Puerto Vallarta,
Nice.
um, and then I like my cars, my watches.
Yeah.
I don't really care about the designer crap. I didn't even know what Chanel was until I started dating my Russian wife. But yeah, I like nice watches and cars. That's about it. I could care less about the clothes stuff.
What
But
kind of cars do you have?
I've got a 2020 4Runner and a 2015 911 4S.
Nice. What is it about cars that you like so much, do you think?
Um, Cars. So I do a little bit of racing, like autocross.
Oh, okay.
Uh, I just love driving.
Yeah, yeah.
When you're
It's
driving
comforting and
when you're
exhilarating at the
driving
same time.
yeah when you're driving a nice car. I like to take mountain drives. It's just kind of like it's like therapy for me.
For sure.
Driving mountain roads, taking the turns tight, just feeling how well a nice car will handle.
Yep.
Um,
Yep. It is, we talked about this earlier. It's like when life is so chaotic, the sense of control is kind of nice. Like
yeah,
being able to drive a really nice car.
for sure.
Yeah, you were in my car. The Tesla is electric, so I kind of miss the feeling of there's a certain vibration you get from a car with an engine.
Yeah,
Not
but
not a
Teslas are
battery.
fast as
They're
hell.
fast as shit. I mean,
Yeah.
the ludicrous mode of the new Plaid, it's like 0 to 60 in less than 2 seconds. I think it's like 1.8 1.8 or 1.9. It's insane.
That's faster than a
It's
Ferrari.
insane. It hurts. Like you accelerate and you get thrust against the back of the car. It's
The
painful.
force, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So keeping it moving in this section as I look at time. What is the craziest thing you've spent your winnings from a bet on? I don't know if it was one of the 5-figure wins, but is there anything where you're just like, F it, I'm going all out on this?
Oh God. Craziest thing I've spent my money on from winning a bet.
Yeah.
Uh, I I mean, I've done the dumb thing and like gone to the strip club and wasted money.
Is that in Vegas or where?
No, it's just in Colorado.
Colorado?
I haven't done luckily too many dumb, like I don't, well, not spending my money on like something material, more just experience.
Yeah.
But I haven't really blown anything on like a big impulse purchase. I mean, I bought my 911 from winnings. That was pretty impulse, but it wasn't like a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good card, good
Yeah,
purchase.
yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I've had probably 13 guests now on the show, and the answer that I get is most often travel.
yeah,
It's amazing how similar all of our partners are in terms of like mindset.
yeah,
Very, very down to earth, very hardworking, very level headed. Because I'd say the same thing as you is like, spend my money on a car is practical. Like you need to drive it and it feels good and it's comfortable, and 911's a nice ass car.
yeah, yeah.
So I like that. So what if let's just take, scratch the 5-figure bets, and let's take you for whatever reason throw in a lotto. You're like, all right, I'm gonna
Yeah.
stack 12 things together, whatever, and you end up winning $1 million.
Yeah.
How would you spend that money?
Oh, I would not spend the money. Don't spend the money I mean, I would take at least half of it and keep it in my bankroll, up my unit size, put the other half in, the S&P 500, some stocks or something.
Wow.
I would not. I already have the material things I want, so save it up, save it up. Yeah.
That is an awesome answer. That's like a sales pitch within itself, right? It's like you win a bunch of money. How are you going to spend it? Well, I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to up my units.
Yeah.
I'm going to invest in myself. It's actually funny. When I was investing, one of my favorite questions that I asked one time was a really successful founder. You probably know the product. I won't say it on here. And I asked them, because part of our pitch was, hey, we can provide liquidity for you. Like Tim, we can provide you $20 million to buy X% of your business, but like we're buying your shares. And his retort to me was kind of what you just said is, well, if I'm going to have all that extra money, I'm not going to invest it anywhere other than my business.
Yeah.
So why would I sell you my shares if the best place for me to accrue value and wealth is in my own business?
Yeah.
And that is a reflection of just how confident you are in your product, which is amazing. I mean, it's the best way to sell your offering.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. The thing is, it sounds cliche, but once you buy those nice, expensive, materialistic things, like they do bring you that joy in the moment, and you do feel good about it. But
Yeah, it's fleeting.
yeah, it's fleeting. So once you already go there, you want to make the smart decision, and I still like to spend my money on myself. Don't get me wrong, but it's way better to have that money work for you, and then when you have 5 million in the bank, then go buy the next big thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. In today's times, millions not even that crazy, like.
It won't even. I mean, we're in the Bay Area right now. It won't even buy me a house.
Oh,
$1
no.
million.
Not
Like,
even close.
look on Zillow, dude. The cheapest thing is like $970.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. All right, we're gonna shift gears now a little bit into the user case study section. This one's a fun one. You are very obsessed with your users, kind of like we are. You call them your clients, people that pay you for your sports betting advice. We're obsessed with you guys. I mean, we fly you out here to do these podcasts. I like learning more about you. We like making sure that we're getting to know what you need and what you desire. And one of my favorite companies to shop on is Amazon. And this isn't an advertisement. It's because Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, he's now a former CEO, He's said on record probably 100 times that Amazon is the most customer obsessed company in the world. And when you ask someone who uses Amazon, like I had a conversation with this on this topic with someone at dinner last week. When you ask someone like what qualms can you find with Amazon, it's really hard because they're actually like they cover all the bases.
Yeah.
It's so easy to return stuff. It's so easy to buy stuff. The reason I'm getting at that is because you're very obsessed with your clients. So what I want to understand, and I think what would be informational for folks, with all this time that you spend interacting with your clients, doing the Q&A, what are some case studies or examples of times where it's been clear to you that you've made a difference? Have people spoken out and told and let you know, hey, I won this much and like you helped me pay off this or whatever? Are there any case studies that you'd refer back to as things you're particularly proud of over the years?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the best feelings is when you get those messages like, hey, I just paid for my family's vacation to the Bahamas
Yep.
with our winnings from last week. A guy like bought a new BMW, from the winnings from like the last 6 months. The guy was working on getting a down payment for his vacation home for like a short-term rental.
Wow.
All those kind of messages. Even if it's like, hey, you paid for my nice dinner tonight for my family, like you do get those messages and that does, keep you motivated to keep putting out the best product possible for sure.
Yeah, I wish you had like a mailbag where you can just like, it's, hey, you've got something nice to say to me, put it in here because I'm
Yeah.
sure that it's very stressful dealing with
Oh,
people
yeah.
that
Okay.
join and immediately their initial reaction is just getting mad if you
Oh,
have a
yeah.
bad day.
I've gotten, you get the good messages and you get the bad messages too. You get the crazies for sure that, you
Yeah.
had 2 bad days in a row and they're down money and they're not going to
They're
be
coming after you.
Yeah, for sure. But it's part of the game.
If I always like to get to know your client base through you. Everyone's, members, subscribers, whatever, have a personality. Like there's a personality and it shapes around
That's one thing you realize for sure.
like
It's a
it
ton-
probably shapes around you, right? The
Yeah.
creator. What the best way that I like to kind of reflect how that personality shows up is asking you if you were to buy each of your clients a gift and money was not a factor and you could get everyone the same thing that they would like,
Yeah.
what would that gift be and why?
I'd probably go with a watch, something, because I'd probably just go with some basic Rolex or something like that. Because number one, Rolexes are in very high demand.
Yeah.
It's not going to lose its value. Certain models you can sell for more than you got. Um, you know, it always feels good when you have a nice watch on your wrist, and most of my clients, I feel like would feel the same way.
Yep.
You just feel good, feel good about yourself. So, probably just a nice watch off
Yeah.
the top of my head. Yeah.
Yeah, and would the watch have a Gladiator Analytics logo? That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Yes, for sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see if everything is successful with DubClub, which I have no doubt it will be. I want to get to a point where we're, helping to fund some of those really fun initiatives for
Yeah.
our partners and their
Yeah,
communities.
make that, if you make $1 million on Dub Club, you get a Rolex with your logo or something engraved on the
Yeah, and you
inside
can
of it.
pass it out to all your your current active members, so you get people to subscribe, come back, and join the fun.
Yeah.
That way, they'll get a Rolex. Tim, what advice well, I guess not even advice, just what would be the process by which you take a losing bettor and turn them into a winning bettor? And the reason I ask that is because it sounds like you actually went through some of that evolution yourself when you
Yeah.
first started.
This is probably the best question you've asked me. Okay, so there's a couple of steps. Number one, straightforward, stop only parlaying everything. You never want to only parlay everything. Straight bet everything.
Yeah.
So if you like five games that day and you're doing a 5-leg parlay, you should be betting every single one of those legs as a straight. And then if you want to parlay, do the parlay at a lower unit size. So if you're doing 100 on the straights, do 25 to 50 on the 5-leg parlay or something like that. That's number one. That's
So
just
100 across 5 straight. So 100,
yeah.
100, 100, 100, and then 25 on the parlay.
Yeah, that's number one, most basic thing. Number two is following a bankroll management system, unit sizing, things like that. You got to stick to your units, and also a part of it is if you are getting like so angry for that you're still angry the next day after you have a bad day or losing day, you need to lower your unit size. So you need to take the emotion out of it. So, whether that's okay, I was betting 100 a game and I was getting pissed the next day when we had a bad day. Okay, lower it to 50 or lower it to even 20. Take the emotion completely out of it. So that way you're following the unit sizes, and when you lose, it doesn't matter. You move on to the next day.
Yep.
You just continue every single day. Follow the unit structure, follow the bankroll management, straight bet, and if you know what you're doing, there's no way if you do those few things that you'll lose money over the long term.
How did you come up with that? How did you learn that? Was it self-taught? Did someone help you? Did you follow other people?
Read books. So I read The Logic of Sports Betting. I read a couple of sports betting books
Huh.
that gave me expert knowledge. Right? People write down experts write down all their knowledge in books. So if you can research a couple good sports betting books and read them and just gain knowledge and learn. That's kind of how I did it, and then. Yeah.
So self-taught.
Yes. Self-taught. Yeah. Self-taught for the most part, and just doing your own research and reading articles, reading books. Yeah.
Well, you heard it here first. Read.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Come back to reading. And now, I mean, I'm sure the industry's evolved in a way that you could probably, if you were starting out now, and this is a lot of what DubClub's about, but you can find a lot of people who know what they're talking about that are willing to give advice, that
Yeah.
want to help you, right?
Yeah.
Like what you just did. Instead of someone reading a book, they could take the 3 pointers you just gave and
Yeah.
skip a bunch of steps because you've synthesized that information for them already. Basically, you're funneling it to them
Yeah.
on a silver platter. Here's what to do.
Yeah. We live in the information age. If you want to find out about it, you can. You just gotta have the initiative to look.
Yep.
Right. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Are you watching the Olympics at all?
Yeah, I have been. I don't bet on the Olympics because I don't have, but I've been watching just as a pure fan of the United States. But
Yeah. What sports are you most interested in?
I've enjoyed watching the gymnastics,
Yeah.
women and male gymnastics, the track and field,
Yeah.
a little bit of the swimming. I was watching some of the synchronized diving. I'm excited to watch the basketball. That'll be exciting. I saw. I'm a big Jokic fan.
Yeah.
Because he's a Nugget, so
Yeah.
I saw that when they played the USA. When he was on the court, they were tied 89-89. When he was off the court, they were outscored 3-29. So it's pretty crazy how much of a difference
Yeah.
one guy makes on a 5v5 basketball court does. So.
Yeah, it really shouldn't be that way.
No,
But, yeah.
that's why he's the league MVP 3 of the last 4 years.
Yep.
And there's even a good argument it should have been 4 or 4.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty remarkable, actually. I mean, as someone who has been following the NBA, but just, I guess, didn't quite appreciate just how good he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been dominant. One of the best centers, I think, in the last several decades,
Oh yeah.
by far.
Yeah, for sure.
The reason I asked that, this section, I think it's important to talk, especially in this setting, about the stresses that come with running a business. I mean, it's not easy. And while it's on a different scale than athletes, right? Like, you see these people in the Olympics, and a lot of them have gone through very tough mental trials and tribulations, a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress. We're obviously in different positions, but there's still a lot of pressure we put on ourselves. I think that's just sort of how we all operate.
Yeah.
What do you, obviously, one of the things that you mentioned is you like to drive in
Yeah.
9/11. What else do you do for fun? What do you do to relieve stress?
Gym. So
Working out?
Yeah, working out is the best natural way to relieve stress. It's just facts.
Yeah.
So just staying true to my gym routine. I kind of look at it as like a point of hygiene. Like, you brush your teeth every day. Well, you should get physical exercise every day as well. So,
Yep.
yeah, going to the gym is a big component for keeping me, mentally on top, for sure, on top of my game.
And does travel help? It sounds like you and your wife travel quite a
I
bit.
mean, yeah, travel helps for sure to, just have a nice time with your family, but I wouldn't say it helps my business.
Yeah.
It might be a nice release of stress, but having my systems set up like, the daily stuff, the daily, eating decent food, having a decent diet,
Yep.
going to the gym on a routine basis, at least 4 to 5 times a week. That's what keeps me sharp.
Yep.
Yeah,
Nutrition and exercise. I have
yeah,
that
it's
as
pretty basic stuff, but
yeah,
easier,
two of the foundational systems.
yeah, easier said than done.
How much sleep do you get at night?
Oh, that's another thing is I don't ever set an alarm. So
Oh, wow. You
never.
naturally
Unless
wake
I
up.
have to. Like today, I caught a flight, so I had to
That's
set an
right. Yeah.
alarm
Yeah.
for
Sorry about
but
that.
that's all good. So I'm a natural early riser. A lot of times I'll wake up at 4 a.m. and not
Wow.
and not
Jeez.
not be able to go back to sleep. So then I'll go to the gym.
What time do you go to bed if you're waking up at 4?
I mean, sometimes I'll wake up at 4, but go to bed at 11 or 12.
Okay.
I'm usually trying to go to bed between 10 and 10 or 11.
Yeah.
Um, so if I do wake up at that, I'll get my workout early in the day. If I don't, I'll usually wake up around 7:30, 8, and then I go to the office, work for about 3 to 4 hours, and then I'll hit the gym session around noon, come back 1:30, and finish the workday. That's usually how it goes.
That's awesome. I mean, I think a lot of people look, the way we work with a lot of partners, a lot of content creators. I think there's very little structure in a lot of their lives, and I think it can get really effing like messy
Yeah.
and hard.
Yeah, well, luckily I have kids. I have a 4-year-old, a small 4-year-old. So
Yeah, I would
it
imagine
keeps,
that is a major forcing function
yeah,
for you to figure out a way to create structure in
yeah.
your day to day.
Structure is good for all humans. So,
Yes.
yeah, it's just human nature
I think
to.
that's what's made us as humans evolve beyond primitive beings, right? It's like we
Abs-
have the cognitive ability to understand how to put structure in our
Yeah,
lives and be more efficient and productive,
absolutely,
among
100%.
among other things, obviously.
Yeah.
Uh, I would like to get into this is football and sports. We've got probably 10 minutes, so we'll get moving. The fall's right around the corner. I want to talk football.
Yeah.
Football is, I mean, gosh, like I think it's probably fall. The fall, for the reason of football being in the fall, is one of the best times of the year for me. I'm sure it is for you. What does football mean to you and your business? Let's just start there.
Yeah, I mean, it's football obviously is like America's sport, right? So it's NFL is the most watched sport. So it's obviously the most bet sport as well. Um,
1 in 3 Americans bet on the Super Bowl last year.
yeah, that and
Pretty wild.
it'll only
It'll only get the year before that it was 1 in
yeah
4, and this year it'll probably be
yeah.
150 or 1 in 2.
So yeah, I mean it's a big deal. To be honest, it's not my the biggest month I ever did was during only MLB. So that was it's good for business for sure, but we're really good at MLB, and this is a results driven business. So
Yep.
if your best if your best bets are during a certain time frame like MLB, you're going to make the most there. And a lot of people have trouble with MLB too. I think
Oh yeah.
a lot of people don't know where to start with MLB, how to analyze everything. Whereas football, people have stronger opinions, and they're willing to just bet themselves based on their own kind of opinions about things. Don't get me wrong, NFL, the fall is still my busiest season, but it's not like, you know, it's it's not the end all be all.
You're the second person now in the last week I've done this with who've said, I think I can possibly make more money. It's easier to make more money on football to the average person, but I enjoy betting MLB more. Their reasoning was a little different, but what is it that, like, walk me through why MLB is your success is so outstripping others.
Well, a lot of it has to do with data. I mean, there's the most data you can analyze in the MLB. There's the most you can,
Is that because there's more games, or because the games are all, for the large part played outside? There's weather factor, there's park
it's
factors. I saw you subscribed to Ballpark Pal, getting
yeah.
some good data.
Yeah, exactly. There's just
Yeah.
more data points. You can look at the pitching data, hitting data, splits. There's just more data that you can analyze and look at in the MLB compared to like the NFL.
It's so interesting though, because the handle volume in, I guess there's really only one major sport going on in the summer, but June, July, August, total handle goes down
Oh
from,
yeah.
10 billion,
Well,
15 billion to like 5 a
yeah.
month, which is crazy.
Well, yeah. There's a lot of people will only bet on something that they want to watch, right?
Yeah.
So that's the average person, right? Is they got Sundays off. They can watch all the NFL games. You got fantasy football. It's just got more buzz around the NFL, which is fine. But for me personally, I can make more money on the MLB. So what I always tell people is, you should be telling the MLB, well, at least our plays, and building up your bankroll. And that way, when college football and NFL starts, you'll be better off. But a lot of people just don't want to bet MLB. So
Well, I think
there's,
what it comes down to is the reality is a lot of people bet on sports. I use this stat a lot, but it's like 40 million people in the U.S. from countless surveys you can do out there. We've run our own surveys, but 3 and 4 of those people do it for fun.
yeah.
So the reality is, to your point, is like most people that are going to be betting consistently really won't do it until football, because that's fun. They can enjoy it. They can talk with their friends. Fantasy is more interesting around football. Baseball gets taxing. Like,
Yeah.
I played fantasy baseball one year, and I was like, this is harder than my day job. Like, I gotta make sure I'm checking this stuff, every second of every day, because there's games on all the time,
Yeah, 162 games in that year is crazy.
and some of them are on at like 10 a.m.
Yeah.
on like a Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I'm not gonna be checking my lineup in the morning. No,
Yeah.
check it. For football, I check it on Wednesdays, get the waiver wire, and I'm set for the week.
Yeah.
Make a couple adjustments, look at the news. Yeah, that part is kind of tough. I know you mentioned being sharp in MLB, but as it comes to football, I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff we can talk about. Have you started thinking about football before I start asking questions around, what futures are guaranteed to make me money? Are you in a position where, even if it's sort of jokingly and gut feel, are you in a position where you can start giving some high level advice for me, at least, not formal advice to the listeners, but something that I can take?
Unfortunately, I'm not, because I don't do futures.
Mm,
I've never placed a future bet in my entire life.
really?
Yeah, so I focus on the daily
Why is that?
the daily slates.
Why
Um,
no futures for Tim?
well, there are a couple of things. There's a lot of unknown factors, right? So if the odds are set, you're placing a futures bet, like last year. Say you placed it on the Jets. Your future bet is done week one. And the
Right.
NFL, there's a ton of
You
injuries.
watch Hard Knocks and you're like, all right, Jets, I'm taking.
Oh
I'm taking
yeah,
it.
that's another thing. People watch Hard Knocks and you see the handle for the team on Hard Knocks, because
Yeah.
they're like, oh, they're practicing so hard,
But
all this
that's
stuff.
part of it.
Yeah.
3 and 4 people do it for fun. Like, that's
Yeah.
hilarious. It's fun.
But there's too many factors out of your control.
Yeah.
I'd rather focus on each Sunday and do what's been working for me for the last 4 years. But I mean, I'm not saying never do a futures bet, but don't do serious money. Like, you could do it for fun, but I've never placed serious money on a futures bet. I might have done something for fun. I think I actually put like, what I have. I think I had like $900 on the Nuggets to win the championship last year, just for fun.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's your team.
Yeah, it was my team, whatever. So I have placed a futures bet, but no serious money, and I don't spend too much time on it. But
Yeah, yeah. That's actually a really good point. Is there's so much over the
out
course
of
of
your
a
control,
freaking season
yeah.
out of your control.
Trades, injuries, whatever. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, there's that obviously exists on a micro level in each individual game, but over the course. And even with something like I think the latest was Chiefs plus 500. It's like that's not even worth it. It's not even worth it.
Yeah, I can.
Like I could win, a couple $100 if I put down 100. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a decent amount of money to put down and not get that much out of it when it's like
The-
the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl is still not a sure thing. Like I will.
Oh, the Chiefs are gonna have a target on their head, man. I tell you what,
Yeah.
every team will play them 110%.
110%. It's like you got to give them all you got every single game and try to keep them out of the playoffs because the last couple of years, even last year, it was like not a sure thing they'd make the playoffs
Yeah.
for a good part of the season.
Yeah, for sure. The other teams in the NFL do not want them to win 3 times in a row. I can guarantee you that.
No.
They're gonna be the most targeted team for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be rooting for the Niners whole season. All right, we're gonna get into the 2-minute drill, and this is where we'll wrap the pod. This is really fun. It's 12 questions. Actually, I'm gonna load the most recent version of this so that you can do this properly. There's 4 sections. We'll do 30 seconds each, or at least try to. The good old Tom Brady end of game 2-minute drill to win the game.
Let's do it.
The questions are in 4 categories. The first one is kiss, marry, kill.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah, it's not too crazy, and then we'll get into a couple either or questions, and then we'll do, and it's loading right now, and then we'll do a couple of choose one. The superlatives are like high school superlative questions, and then would you rather to end it. The would you rather ones, you're gonna laugh at a couple of them. Yeah, what the hell is this? All right, so we'll start with kiss, marry, kill, and I'll start the clock. We're gonna have 2 minutes on the clock, and you can add any color or context, just so people aren't curious about some of your answers here. But we'll start with rappers. Kiss, marry, kill: Kendrick, Jay-Z, Eminem.
Okay. Oh God. Yeah, this is hard. I guess.
You wanna kill them all?
I guess kiss Kendrick, kill Jay-Z, marry Eminem.
All right, that works. Marrying Eminem is a very common answer, by the way. I think it's the most common one.
That's weird.
Kiss, marry, kill: pop music. We'll do Katy Perry, Taylor Swift, Ariana Grande.
Okay, kiss Katy Perry, kill Taylor Swift, marry Ariana Grande.
Yeah, also a common answer. NFL QBs: Brady, Mahomes, Caleb Williams.
Oh my God.
The young buck on
marry Tom Brady 100%. Kiss Mahomes, kill Williams.
Yeah, it's awesome. I don't think anyone's ever not killed Williams.
I'm not a Mahomes fan, but
he hasn't proven himself yet. All right, what is your song, or what would be your song when you cash a massive play, like the 5-figure wins? What plays in the background when that happens?
I love "Win" by J-Rock.
Love it.
"Win" by J-Rock is a great one.
Fantastic. You're a huge Nuggets fan. What is the craziest thing you do for the Nuggets to win the NBA Finals?
Well, they just won, so
again.
It's nothing crazy because they just won.
Wow, that unfair answer. Well, you got to ask me about the Warriors.
Dude, you should ask the Broncos or something.
Yeah. All right, Broncos to win the Super Bowl. I didn't know if you were as big a fan of the Broncos as you are the Nuggets, but yeah, craziest thing you do for the Broncos to win the Super Bowl.
I don't know. Shave my head or something. I don't know. nothing too crazy. Nothing too.
Not too much left there. It's not bad.
Yeah.
You got pretty short hair already.
I'm already going bald, so.
Well, no, I didn't mean to think that was a bald comment, but yeah, you'd look good with shaved head, so that works. All right, choose one: Jordan or LeBron.
Jordan.
Wow, that was fast. Good, I like that answer. New York or Chicago style pizza?
New York.
Jeez, okay. Remember, half of our team's in Chicago.
Yeah.
Spotify or Apple
Spotify.
Music? Yeah, these are funny. Morning person or night person?
Morning.
Morning, wake up naturally. Crunchy or smooth peanut butter?
Neither. I'm not a peanut butter guy.
Are you allergic?
No, I just
don't like peanut butter?
Yeah, I don't like the taste.
Do you like jelly?
Yeah.
So do you eat just jelly sandwiches?
I don't ever eat PB&J.
Jelly and toast?
Yeah, no, it needs meat on it or something.
That's fair. That's fair. Do you prefer Cash App or Venmo? I know I Venmoed you earlier.
Cash App now. Venmo used to be number one, but Cash App now for sure.
Whoa, what's the backstory?
Venmo's
How did
just
Venmo lose its customer?
Venmo got too much in people's business.
Mm.
Yeah, like like if you're playing a poker game with your friends and you pay someone out with Venmo and you put poker or something, they'll like take the funds and shit like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I
So
didn't know that.
yeah.
That's interesting. My buddy of mine from business school started a company where you can basically, if we're playing golf, you and I can bet at the beginning of the game and put money into this
Yeah.
basically as an escrow,
Yeah.
and then it pays out based off of who we said win the game
Yeah.
instead of,
Yeah.
and there's no fee. So
Yeah.
you'd get all the money, I'd get all the, I'd lose all the money, but we'll see how we play. Who's more likely to win the next Super Bowl, the Bears or the Patriots? Both are TBD in my head, so I like asking this question.
Oh my God, that's really hard. And Belichick's gone from the Patriots, so I'll
Yeah.
say Bears.
Yeah, I don't know if the
It's-
Patriots in their first year without
Yeah, Robert
Big
Kraft is old. He's very old.
he's very old. Would you rather be able to only bet on the NBA or only bet on the NFL? I guess in your instance, only bet on the MLB or only bet on the NFL.
Well, in that instance,
Choose one.
MLB. I enjoy watching NFL more, but I make more on
You make
MLB.
more. That's a
So
good answer. Would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout?
shout.
Would you rather travel 50 years in the past or 50 years into the future?
Future.
Why?
Past is the past. We already know what happened. No one knows what's going to happen in the future, and
That's fair.
the society just keeps getting more advanced and better. So I don't know why you'd want to go to the past.
That's fair. Yeah. Would you rather be able to fly or breathe underwater?
Fly. Yeah, fly for sure.
Fly?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like that's a common answer. Would you rather be a superhero or a wizard?
Or a wizard? I was like to say villain.
See, it's a harder question. You're like, what's the difference exactly?
Probably a wizard.
Yeah, cast spells, do some weird shit, be in Harry Potter.
More capabilities, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Superpower, you're superhero, you only have one superpower.
Yeah.
Wizard, you got many spells you can cast. Would you rather see babies dressed as animals or animals dressed as humans? And this will wrap us up.
Babies dressed as animals or animals dressed
Yeah, like a bear wearing a suit and tie.
Babies dressed as animals, I think.
Interesting. All right, last question to wrap up the CEO Corner episode. What advice do you have for the 40 million plus Americans that bet on sports every week?
Straight bet. Stop doing only parlays. Parlays are fun, you can do them, but don't ever only do parlays. It's probably that will help the most people. Straight bet only.
Yep. So if you want to throw down on a parlay, turn every leg of the parlay into a straight bet.
Yep. Exactly.
That's the bottom line advice.
Yes.
And subscribe to Gladiator Analytics.
There you go.
Yeah.
All
Thanks,
right.
Tim. This was super fun.
Yeah.
I appreciate having you on and having you out here. We're gonna go play some golf.
Sweet, man. Let's do it. Thank you for having me as well.
Of course.